All right, let's get this started. We don't have very many things to critique, actually, so I'm going to grab a couple that weren't tagged. Almost got it all. Okay. So moving some stuff around on the screen. All right. So first up, Melenkov. Got some ice action going on. So let me full screen this. So immediately this stuff up here and how it blends in with the rest of this looks really good. And I think that this stuff here is missing that feeling. And I think it has to do with how far away this stuff feels from the wall itself. I'm going to use a better color. So like you can see it feels like there's a gap between that and the shadow. Like it feels like there's a gap to the wall. And I think when it comes to stuff melting and kind of frosting over on stuff, that the overhang where it's not really touching anything is only when it's dripping off of something, right? This is dripping down something, so that gap shouldn't really necessarily be there. You could try a depth fade. So press all this stuff up against the wall itself, right? And then where it meets the wall, if you're doing a depth fade, it starts to soften that edge, which should give you the illusion that it's blending into the wall itself. Because you have really hard edges here, but in here, like this feels much more like organic, and I'm sure it's because this stuff is like the same mesh, right? Yeah. The other thing too is like where walls meet, like for example in this corner here and this one, like that wall's there and this one's above it. This is where most of that type of melting buildup is going to occur. So you'll actually get longer chunks of ice melt, maybe even some buildup down here, where it's like pooled and then melted again and then froze up again, and it's just kind of getting, yeah. Anywho, in general, it's looking pretty good. I think that this value may be a little strong, or this is not matching this close enough, because you probably want that kind of ice look. That color would probably be reflecting more the sky, just because that color would be bouncing into there and refracting around and then coming back out into your eyes. Pretty slick though, pretty slick. I like where it's going. Scale wise, it's really interesting because I'm seeing stairs here, and like that's like really steep and small. So this place is actually huge. Make sure to get some props in here that help you sell the size of everything. So it's not only the stairs. All right, now I got Mr. Bubbles. with a nice pistol. What I would say, oh man, I love the so scale wise, that fingerprint is huge. I could be wrong, but it feels like that fingerprint is really large. This information here, I'm already doing it naturally. So this information here looks like it's in the albedo. Probably will only be in the roughness for the most part, if not all of it. And the direction of it would be in the direction that the clip slides, right? So the clip doesn't slide up and down, it slides direct, like so it slides like a normal. So right now everything's going in this direction when it needs to be going more in the direction of this stuff. So if it goes more this way, and then these ones as well, they're probably going to be longer as well as not so combined. Like the upper, this area looks pretty good. The logo here. That logo feels like it might be too large because the space between here and the side, is really, really tight. And if that's a 1, I'm curious why the logo goes that way. I guess because it's a bullet, right? It's a bullet logo. I think that, yeah, I think you just need to work on your roughness. Your skills for creating the assets looks really good. Creating the high poly and then getting your good bakes. Alright, I gotta do this. Yeah, Grizz. Alright, so, oh yeah, this feels nice. This guy slides, right? To cover this up for safety. This is a safety lock, isn't it? Getting that a slide pattern here in the roughness is going to be really beneficial. This area looks really nice. Like all the little roughness variation going on in there. There's some weird splattering of roughness that doesn't feel like metal to me. But yeah, I guess if you could get to like a gun range, I have no idea if you can or not. Or like go look at some real guns versus like just looking at pictures to just see how light plays across it as you rotate it, just to see all the roughness variation that occurs at glancing angles. That'll help immensely. Lone Wolf has got that shit on like lock. It's crazy. Oh shit. McDad, thanks for the follow, man. Omega as well, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Empire. All right, got this block out here from Omega, a block out of an environment I started in UE4. I put the concept in a different post, and Discord hates me putting 2 images at once. Okay, and this is the concept. So here's the concept. All right, let's go into Photopoo. Grab this one. So one thing before, so as far as blockouts go, I would say that this is actually further along than a blockout. You made some changes on how it looked and felt in engine, window heights and stuff. All right, cool. With adding these details here, these guys. Be careful with adding that in too soon. So with the blockouts, I would just initially just make this shape, right? And then how far back it goes. And that's it for that piece. Let's see here. The reason I say that is when you look at this, the width of this is narrower than your blockout. The roof, man, that roofing is strange. It's like, it like wants to be sci-fi. Anywho. But yeah, solving where, I mean, I think those are the only areas where it's kind of gone a little far in the detail. Like you probably don't need this yet when you're doing a blockout, or these guys. You could take this guy and just make a cylinder and then have that floating there. Because, yeah, you want to double check your heights on, like, dude, these are actually 2 different heights. That's so weird. Check your heights on stuff, widths on things, how much depth things have. So once that's all solved, I would say the roofing would probably be slate, because this is more of like a city gate entrances, or like district entrances. So it's going to be higher quality. It's like the further outside regions of a city are going to be more straw. Let me see if I can find a... So if we look at this medieval city generator, this thing's cool. So it's going to be areas like this area here, these areas outside the city, these guys. Those are going to be where you're going to have more of like a straw type rooftops, if anything. It's anything on the border, like the wall itself, and the buildings on the inside are going to have like the nicer roofs, right? And I'm assuming that this space is kind of like what the hell? Oh, I see what's going on. I'm like, what? Here, I'll just give that to you guys. There you go. Like this one's even more rural, right? So like these would all be, this whole area would be like the thatch roofs, and then maybe these guys leading up to the gate to this inner area is going to be like the nicer rooftops. But yeah. Oh yeah, see, that wear is not even as blatantly directional as I expected. Yeah, that's why it's so important to look at like the physical roughness. Like the variation's there, but the range is very subtle, and it's more about edge highlighting in the roughness versus anything else. But yeah, this is going to be cool. I would totally keep working on this. Get your block out scale and everything into place, and then you're going to be in a really, really cool spot. And don't forget about the foliage. You don't have to block the foliage out. I mean, you could, like, if you wanted to, a stick and like some spheres, just so you know how many plants or unique plants you're going to need. But yeah, I would concentrate on the larger forms first and just try and get those in line with the scale. Welcome though, Omega. Thanks for the post. I look forward to seeing more stuff from you. All right, so this one. This is from Curious. Okay, so I'm still working on the roughness and normal values. I'm aware of the light map issues I'm having. I've double checked my UVs to make sure they're okay, but I'm not sure what it is. I still need a texture, some meshes, and I need to add in the clothes and loose papers. If anyone has any advice on texturing multiple docs, please PM me because I have no idea whether I should do one massive texture or decals. Lastly, I'm looking for some art to hang on my blank walls. If you have any 2D artists here, or if you have any suggestions, let me know. Nice. So the resolution on the wall, maybe that is the light maps, feels really low res. Let's just scroll down through this and look through everything first. So I think in the last image here, this carpet has become too square. Maybe more rectangle. Like this one's too long. This one feels okay. That's weird. I wonder if this is just the camera angle and the FOV being different. Do you have the reference, Curious? I remember you showed a reference image at one point. In general, I think the propping's coming along pretty nicely. I'd be careful with the AO strength here. Don't put your AO in your albedo. I think it must be an albedo here. And you can see the wires or the string there. And in this angle, the string is not as apparent. As far as doing the documents, I like that you've modeled them all out. Hang on here. So I like that you've modeled them all out. It's just a matter of like, how do you texture them, right? Is what you were saying. What I normally do is, let's say, make a 2048 by a 2048, right? And then just go online and look up like, you can start by Googling like official documents, stuff like this. And you can start grabbing these and then you just do this. Oh man. Oh man. View image. There we go. See, and then it's about authoring the papers that look more in line with what you're doing. So like maybe you've got a portrait of someone. Oh man, this is the wanted poster. So if you got something like this, right? Nice, there's a Trump one. So if you take this, you can grab like that face. So you could do stuff like this. Oops. The hell? Oh, there we go. going to lock the pixels so I can paint and it won't get rid of everything. And then you can fade this out so it's a bit more in line with. But so like you've got stuff like that. You could go in and let's just delete this one and we'll work on this one itself. So you've got this picture, right? We'll do some blowout. And then we'll darken it like that. And then you can do things like make another layer, and you can do, is this a good one? Let me see here. I'm trying to find a good shape for the, so you could grab like this brush. If you press, is it F5? Yeah, bring your brush presets up. You could narrow it out and then rotate it, and then you could do things like stuff like this. So then what you do, you're just trying to tell a story between some of this stuff, right? So, and then you take that image and you just map it to a spot in the sheet. You do that with tons. Oh, it's all good, Ben. It's there. It'll be there for you. So mapping that out to a spot and then just filling that with sticky notes, pieces of paper, all that stuff. And then you're just UV mapping all of these little cards to that. Usually what I would do is, like you could place these instants, but I'm assuming this is an engine. So what I would actually do is get this texture sheet filled up with tons of papers, sticky notes, files, all that stuff. Then place that texture on a square, like a single quad, and then go and just cut them all out. And then add curls where you want them and stuff. Subtle at first. Place all of them, and then push the curls more to make sense with where they're at, especially with everything else. And just layer them on top of each other. And just keep doing that until you have the density and the look that you want. I would look at your floor, like from this angle, the floor looks really good. This shot's really nice just because it's so bright. It might be a little too bright, but I would like a bit more lighting in the corner here, just so that you can see what's happening. Maybe if it's even just this light needs to just be bouncing more, and then the resolution of the ground just needs to be higher. Yeah. Either resolution needs to be, like from this angle, it looks like the albedo and the normals look good from this angle, but from this one, it feels like there's not enough information in there. And just double check your scale on everything. Scale's everything. Like place a guy in here and just have him stand next to stuff. You're like, oh, that doesn't feel right. Double check everything. In general, this is coming along though. I'm looking forward to the space. Walls are also really difficult. I know the feels. Like this top edge here, like in this edge here, you're gonna have to solve that so it doesn't look so like blocked out. But yeah, it's coming along. I think you just need to keep going and see where it takes you. And we'll keep a close eye on it. All right, we got 3D Kyle working on broken glass. The cutout shapes of the glass is really strange to me, but in general, I think this is looking pretty good. The thing you should know about the stuff that this, what do you even call it? These lines, these wires, because I know they're wires. So these guys, remember that they're inside of the glass. They're like, it's like when they cast this glass, they actually are laying this wire structure down, and then dipping it or filling it with glass and then letting that cool. And then they cut the wires, and it's basically to just reinforce the glass so that it can't break like this. So what should happen is there shouldn't necessarily be holes. If there are holes, they're going to be pretty small, and it's mainly going to be spider fracturing that's being supported by the wire structure itself. Now, the reason I say make sure that you know that it's wire is because that'll change the way that the normals of the wire looks. Right now it looks like you have little individual tiles when it should be like the highlight of lighting on the edge of a wire inside of the glass. So there shouldn't really be any normal information affecting the wires. I don't know how you're going to get it inside though with the material stuff. I guess subsurface or something. I don't know. But it looks like you're just getting started on this. I have confidence that you'll make it pretty freaking badass. See, this one's pretty good. Working on breaking up the, like I don't have any experience in this currently, but working on ways to make this pattern make more sense with how glass breaks or shatters is going to be really important. It's probably going to be a process of like, this is your first shape, right? And then doing another pass that breaks that up even further. And then another pass on top of that breaks that up a little bit further as well. So you have your large breaks, oops. You have your large breaks, and then your medium breaks, and then your smaller breaks. The frame of this is really interesting. It looks like you're using a gradient, the gradient curve node, whatnot, to create, like from a side view, it looks like it's doing this. Like that. I guess this is more flat. So that's cool. I would argue that little bevel here, this spot, might be a little small if you extend that out, because that'll just get turned into aliasing, right? It'll get a little noisy. What else we got here? Roughness wise, the glass looks pretty good. I like that. I like the breakup on the edges, how it's kind of like that gunky stuff is building up. I'd see if in the albedo you could get that wire, the wire mesh. I don't know if that's in the challenge though. I haven't looked at it. All right. So we're looking at this table again. Let me see the. Where did that table go? I'm like, where the hell? Oh, there it is. Okay, so I picked up the table again. I finally solved an issue that was giving me tons of headaches. I think at the point where I'm called the actual design phase pretty much done. Would you guys have anything to say about the design, especially the drawers, since it's what I've been struggling with? I think, honestly, taking this inner piece here, scaling it down by about half, and then pushing these in a little bit more. Because right now those are handles that are sticking out pretty far, and they have quite the diameter to them. This side detail sticks out pretty far, but I think it works just because of the details that are on the side here. The trim shapes look much nicer. And let's see here. If you look at it from this angle, what I'm looking at here is the this shape, and just seeing if it's the same on both sides. Ugh, I didn't draw it the same, that's for sure. I think this looks pretty good to me. Maybe so here's a little bit of a nitpicky one. So you've got a width here, and then these diagonals. So the diagonals on this side and the width here is different from this side. You just take this piece here and bring it in this way till it matches this, and then that won't look as weird. And then there's a curve cut here. I guess you're having that go behind the, let me see here. Okay, yeah. Cool. Oh, that's fine. Oh man, I didn't even see this underside detail. You probably don't need that many. Since you have so much detail here, if people do get an angle below the asset here, I probably only add one going this way or one going this way that's wider. Like, let's see here. So maybe doing one this way, or maybe even bigger than that. One beam that way, maybe some two small ones this way, and then one big one this way. Because it's more about the support, right? That's not the how those are built or placed. Like, it's not aesthetics down there. It's supposed to be structural. Pretty solid though. I like the design. I might say that, oh, maybe not, but taking this trim and just following it all the way to here, and then leaving this what it is. But I do like that it's kind of separated as well, so yeah, I just leave it. Just leave it. It's cool. Because if you did that, then I would suggest you do it here as well with this one. Just end it here. Yeah, pretty cool though. Pretty cool. You posted a crit on Discord? Oh, nice, man. All right, let's get to this one, and then we'll go look at that. So material-wise, this is looking, it's really rough material-wise. Not rough as in like, ooh, this is, I don't know, man. This is kind of, it's not like that. More like, think about what your materials are made out of. Like, what is this material? What is this material? Is this little piece here different from this material? What are these made out of? What's this made out of? Like, is this more reflective? Everything's pretty dirty right now, and the roughness is all relatively the same. I would argue that getting rid of some of the dirt in the roughness and detail normals of these metal pieces will produce a better material outcome. Making these cables not so rough and probably more plastic or rubber-like in roughness, and then looking at what makes this metal, or if it's not metal, and where wear occurs. Where the wear is occurring, you will most likely get higher in the roughness values, so like more reflective, more of a fine material. Abel, let me look for yours. Yeah, I kind of screwed you guys up by moving the stream to this morning. What time was your post at, Abel? Oh, there you go. You updated it for me. Awesome. Thanks, dude. All right, so we'll look at Kunal and Abel's, and then we will call it a stream. So here's Kunal's. Man, that's pretty fucking cool. Dude, this reminds me of, like, up close like this. If it was more dark, it actually looks like... yeah, there is a crit channel. It's in the Discord. And you just join the Discord and you'll get your goods. You get your goods checked out. Dr. DiNusty checking out your goods. So if this was darker and more desaturated, this would actually look like the metal plating that you see the orcs making in Lord of the Rings. Giggity. In general, I think that this looks pretty good. Rocksteady, first attempt making procedural rock subs designer. Learn a lot from great artists like Kyle and Joshua Lynch. Yeah, man, those two guys are badasses. So I would suggest maybe... so see how you have the darkening in your albedo? I would tone that back and leave that to your ambient occlusion. If it's going to be like that, then is it like that because the color is like that? You know, the color of the stone is darker in these crevices? Is that really how it would work? Because that's what it says right here, right? Yeah, roughness is Kunal. Roughness is not it's not an easy thing. I mean, I think the roughness here looks pretty good. Like in this angle, it's really strong, and I think the reason it's working really, really well here is because there's no like frame of reference as to the scale. Yeah, I think that's why this shot looks really, really strong. There's no understanding of like the scale of it, so you're just looking at the detail. Yeah, I do see that there's darkness in the albedo, and I would suggest avoid doing that unless it's actually the color that you want it to be inside of those areas. Like if you're trying to fake like crevices being dark and stuff, that's just for your ambient occlusion to take care of. I really like this lighter stuff in here, and I would assume that in these crevices it would actually be this lighter stuff that kind of builds up, like maybe like dusting almost. Roughness, I agree that it's kind of blowing out, but I think in the like blowing out in these areas here, getting some more range and variation in there, more like in like this stuff is gonna, I think, help. It can still be lighter, but see how much breakup is happening in this area. Getting that type of breakup in here while still being light will help unify your material a bit more, I think. Dude, it's fine, man. The roughness is not bad in this. It just is. I mean, that's why I said this looks kind of like that orc metal wall, is because you're getting really reflective information in this stuff here. And then in here, it's really dusted, right? Because it's white in your roughness. So there's not very much reflectivity going on here. But as you get closer to these edges, it's becoming more and more like a metal, which I know you don't want because this is a rock steady, right? If it's a rock steady, I would suggest making everything kind of lighter in your roughness. If that metal look is what you're going for, then you're doing it right. Man, I need to do a stream where we grab the... So, just so everyone knows, this is the last one, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about, like, it would be nice to get the textures here, and on a stream just kind of talk about tuning your roughness in order to try and get some more, like how you can play with your roughness to get certain looks, if that makes sense. Kunal, if you're interested, give me the normal, the height, and the albedo, just flat, and we can look at that. I've just remembered I need to look at this. Dude, this one's solid. This one's solid, man. This is pretty cool. I think your bricks are warping a bit, but the context is there. I love that you have a rim up here, and then you have a way that they meet a pillar or a beam. Cool, perfect and all. We can. It'll be a little while, but I would like to look at that on like Monday or something. But so, do you see how there's a bottom part to the window? It's very weird that it just ends here. If you can get that edge here as well, probably thinner than this one, that will help sell the framing of it. What's up, Andrew? We're about to end here, but how you doing? This is solid though. I'm really liking this one. I think toning down the normals of the grid and putting that into your albedo is going to be pretty nice. But I do like the play of the grid, so maybe like you could keep it in the normal, just lower it by quite a bit, so it's just enough there to get some light play across the surface. And then work on the bricks. I like how the glass being broken isn't necessarily holes. It's more of like angle direction changes in your normal. That's like doing a lot because it's showing fracturing and bending of the glass without actually trying to open it up. I'm doing good, Andrew. I'm still kind of waking up, but you know, we're about to end. We got like 6 minutes to go. Found out some stuff in Moto, which is kind of cool. I'm excited about. I'll show you guys really fast. Moto 0.3, 11.3, 11.0.3. Is that? I think that's right. Come on, Moto. Oh, jeez. Blah. Oh, man, I don't have any of my... What is happening? Okay, well, give me a second here. We got enough time for me to show you this. If the camera controls are ever bugging you, you can go to your OpenGL and then turn off trackball rotation, and then it'll just move how you expect the viewport to move around like other 3D software. So I found out that in mesh operations, there is a, let's just call this curve, and then we'll make another mesh. Oops. So you can draw a curve. It only works with curves currently, not the other ones. I mean, I guess you could convert these and whatnot, but so you can make a curve, right? You hit spacebar. If you tap on it and go into poly mode and click on it, you can adjust these later. But if you go to this new mesh container and you add an operator, there's a lace geometry. So this is initially created for making shoelaces. Hold shift, click this arrow, will expand every channel instead of just, like if these are minimized and you do that, they're not all open. So you do that. Guide curve, click to add a curve, and then existing operator is this curve mesh here. If you add that, you will then see that I get properties for controlling sides and radius. So we do technically have tubes now in Moto ever since Mesh Ops. And I did not know that this existed till someone on a forum told me. Seeing like when you go to edit it, if you click on the edge there, you see you get the points, and it's in edit mode by default. If you click a point and then click somewhere else, it will go in the chain hierarchy of where to go next. And yeah, talk about stoked. Kunal, you could send me the substance file if you want. Individual maps is fine. I may just reconstruct the roughness using the maps that you give me. But yeah, you could do both. Yeah, here you go. So if you go there, Abel, you can see the song. So yeah, this is really handy. The other thing that kind of bugged me is like, so if I duplicate this spline or curve, and it's like, how do I create another tube, right? You have to duplicate. Oh, hang on here. You have to duplicate this mesh. I always forget the hotkey for it, but you go duplicate and second wire. So, and then in here, in the, where are we at here? Oh, now I'm getting confused. In the lace geometry, you tell the guide curve to look at ID2 or ID1. So both of these curves are in the same mesh container, but they're being identified as curve ID 0 through whatever, how many curves you have. So in that sense, it will work. And yeah, dopeness. All right, guys. I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a good, dude. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your Saturday. Make awesome art and get better at what you do. And don't forget to have fun doing it. We'll end with this crazy music. Later, guys.